Good morning, good afternoon. Whether the market is riding low or high, make sure to stay informed with the mortgage guy. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Question today: what does a loan officer actually do? What do we do? How do we actually do our jobs to make money? What goes on? Well, it's real simple. We're gonna keep it simple for you today. I'm gonna go through a series on each stage of what we do because there is a little bit more to it. But just remember, this is not rocket science. Literally, the day I got hired, they were telling me it is not rocket science, and don't try to make it rocket science because it's literally not. Talking about memorization. So you're getting knowledge and memorizing, just like when you were in school. Outside of that, data entry and just making sure you can present yourself as someone who, you can relate with, or someone that people can trust or like, which is hard in this world because everyone's trying to get something over on everyone. I mean, heck, everyone has their own goals and their own initiatives. It's hard to be the good guy and have people actually believe that. But anyways, again, that's for another story. So we're gonna go ahead. Step 1, application. Step 2, documentation. You could even say verification or validation. Step 3, presentation. I think that is critical. That step 3 is not in a lot of loan officers' repertoire of their job description. And number 4 is facilitate or facilitations. I'd like to add that shen to make it kind of all rhyme. Anyways, application. Review it, tidy it up, make sure it's good. Most applications are done at this point electronically. Someone will do it at home and then submit it. I would say in the next 5 to 10 years, probably sooner, every application will be done that way. Everything will be done electronic. So you go ahead, you input it, your information electronically. You could still call up a loan officer. You could still do the manual application. That still exists. But let's keep it simple. You do your application, loan officer reviews it, tidies it up. Call you. Hey, what's this? Let me verify this. Cool. Then documentation, verification, validation, whatever you want to call it. We have to request the documents that we need to verify your income and your assets. And if there is anything else we need to verify, let's say there's something on credit, or we reviewed that application with you and there was something that you revealed, like a bankruptcy or whatnot, we may need further documentation to verify those items. Only experienced, or I should say knowledgeable loan officers will request those things. Okay, there's a lot of loan officers who will just breeze over it. If you're new, I get it, you're new, cool. You should be going to someone and asking them and reviewing that application so you know exactly what to request up front. But again, newer, that's the only exception. But outside of that, knowledgeable loan officers should be doing that. Anyways, you go ahead, you get all of that documentation, everything you need, whatever it may be that you need to request to be able to get all the facts, everything up front. You do that, you get it all, and then you go ahead and you make sure, hey, let's make sure the income is correct in here. Let me update it. You update all those factors, make sure the application is perfect and good to go. Then at that point, you go ahead and run the file. And you don't want to run the file a million times. I do fall victim to that every once in a while. But you don't want to run it a million times, because if you do run it too many times, the system, DU or LP, so desktop underwriter or loan prospector, okay, what they will do is they will trigger they will actually trigger how many times you have run that file. And they will basically say, you've ran the file too many times to try to get an approval. So we are now not gonna let you do that anymore. And you either need to reset the findings, do a new application, or basically turn down the file. So you wanna make sure that you don't run the file too many times. But essentially, you're going ahead, get that documentation, run the file, and then at that point, you're turned down or you're approved. Cool. Let's say you got approved eligible findings, we go on to the next step. Next step, we go ahead and actually present to you. So we're gonna go ahead and do a full-blown presentation at a worst case scenario basis. Everyone should be doing a worst case scenario basis. They should be running title quotes. They should be making sure that your escrow accounts are set up, and making sure there's even an extra month in there because they don't know exactly the time that you're going to close on a general pre-approval presentation. On a refi, it's different. You should know all the factors and do a worst case scenario, but also it should be a lot more precise just because you have the particular property and you can get all the facts. You can pull up a tax bill online just about anywhere, unless you live in the middle of nowhere. If you're a very rural property and your system's still from 1922, well, guess what? You're not gonna be able to pull up a tax bill online. So you go ahead, you do that presentation. I do highly recommend, make sure you do it on a Zoom call, because if it's not a Zoom call, you're probably not gonna listen, you're not following along, you're just gonna blow over your head, maybe you pick up one thing, whatever. But worst case scenario, presentation. Then you go on number 4, facilitation, whatever. You should have already had your plan. So basically that whole first part is putting together your plan of what you're going to do in order to be able to take the file through underwriting, through processing, and you are facilitating the underwriter, the processor, and kind of directing that entire process on how it's gonna go, okay? And after that, you're all done. That's it. Then you go to close, and if you wanna show your face and go to the closing, great. If you don't wanna show your face and just wanna say congratulations, shoot a call, that's it. You're done. That's my job. Nothing else to it. It's really simple. Again, if you are extremely busy as a loan officer, that does consume you a lot mentally. Also the idea of like maintaining like customer expectations and keeping up with that, and you know, the whole social aspect of it, you know, because you don't like to let someone down. You like to make sure that someone is, you know, informed the entire time. That's good. Communication. So, you know, from a communication standpoint and helping maintain those stress levels for consumers, because and let's be honest, if you're buying a home, it's extremely stressful. If you're refinancing, it's not as stressful, but it's definitely stressful. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're trying to manage that for, you know, help clients manage that through that process. But again, that's it. There's not a whole lot to my job, any loan officer's job. So don't let a loan officer, or next time you talk to a loan officer and they act like, oh, there's so much that we have to do. There's not really. This process, I fully believe, which is why I came to Movement, was just for the sole fact that it should be 10, 15 days really to close, outside of the fact of an appraisal and title work. So if it's an old home, they have to do a really long title search, like I get that could take weeks. But if it's like, you know, again, a rural property or whatever happens with an appraisal, if there's a delay or whatnot, or subject to appraisal, and that takes weeks, that's different, okay? That's outside of our control. But the actual loan itself should only take a couple weeks, if that, like honestly, like 10 days, if that. Again, that's it. So any questions about doing a loan application, follow my series, follow my YouTube channel, follow my Instagram, whatever it may be, so that we can go ahead and keep you informed, not just the market, but also everything mortgage. Have a wonderful day.